DIY, plastic-free, vegan, cruelty-free paint. I just can't even put into words how impressed I was with how it came out. I wore it on a night out and I was just running around telling everyone like, I made my own paint, I boiled my own paint and it worked. So basically I have been trying to find some plastic-free paint, and while looking into it, I found out that it isn't actually just the packaging that's the issue, it's the ingredients themselves. So many paint ingredients are not vegan and they contain plastic. And I don't know why this blew my mind so much. Acrylic paint. It's in the name the whole time. It was literally right there. And because of these ingredients, and there's so many other harsh ingredients as well, because of that, it makes it really hard to dispose of paint. Most of the time, it's not compostable, it's not biodegradable, and it has to go to landfill. Don't get me wrong, if you have a piece of paper with paint on, you can recycle it. Hopefully your local recycling plant will be able to separate the two and then recycle the paper. But in terms of the paint, they can't do anything. They have to clean it off and then send it to landfill. And this is an issue because I'm trying my best to live plastic free and zero waste, and that just doesn't work for me. So when Halloween was coming up this year, I was really determined not to use any plastic-based paint in plastic packaging. I did a ton of research and there's really not that many options out there at the minute. There are people on Etsy and on other really lovely eco sites selling their own homemade paints in lovely packaging, but they're so expensive and they're all based in, a lot of them are based in America, which for me also meant shipping them around the world, which makes no sense. So the closest thing I could find to me, this shows how limited the options are. I ended up getting house paint, eco house paint in a metal tin. That was the best I could do. So anyway, I was like, oh, this feels so expensive and so wasteful, buying a whole tin every time I want to make something. So I really want to try and find a way around it, and that will be like my backup, and then if I don't use it, I can sell it online. So I had a look and I found some recipes and I've merged them all together, and they were all milk based. Obviously being vegan, I wasn't going to use cow milk. I ended up using pea protein milk, just because it's what I had in the fridge. Using the cartoned pea protein milk was also a bit of a cheat because cartons are roughly a third plastic. However, the reason I've called this video plastic free is because it can be done plastic free. There are loads of plant milks that you can either make yourself at home or you can buy from a zero waste shop. It's just that on this day, I hadn't been brave enough to make any yet. When I do make some, I will link it below because I'm definitely gonna film it and share my results. And I hadn't been to the zero waste store. Sorry. So the recipe I used was half a cup of plant milk. In the UK, that's roughly 120 millimeters, and 1 teaspoon of flour. I then blended it. One recipe said that you could stir it with a fork. Do not listen to that, that is a lie. My first batch, I stirred it with a fork and it was so lumpy that I ended up putting all the paint in the blender at the end anyway, so it would just save time. Then on a low medium heat, stir it continuously until it has a thicker consistency, and be really careful watching the bottom of the pan to make sure it doesn't burn. I did this for around 5 to 10 minutes, and I can't really tell you when the consistency is right. The first time I took it off too early and it was really watery. The second time I was wary of that and then left it on too long and it was this really goopy, thick texture. But both of those could be fixed. If it was too runny, I just put it on the heat for a little bit more. If it was too goopy, I just added more water. So all problems are fixable, do not worry about it. Then add half a teaspoon of oil for a smooth texture and let it cool. Then separate it and add the different colors. So my costume was black and red, they're the only colors I did. But obviously again, if you are an artiste or you're painting with kids, it would actually be really cute to separate it out and have all the colors of the rainbow. I've seen some people mixing them in ice cube trays, which would make a lot of sense. I just ended up using whatever random stuff I could find around the house. So for a point I was using some shot glasses and then I was using jars, just whatever I had. I was really pleasantly surprised. So I made this and then the first layer went on and I was like, yep, as expected, this is rubbish. It was sort of see-through and really not very good. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be using that tin of paint. This is just trying it out and then I'm gonna cover it up. But actually, when I gave it time to dry and added more and more layers, I was really impressed with how it turned out. Obviously, everything plastic free has some drawbacks because plastic is convenient and it is effective. I think the drawbacks with this are that it took a lot of layers to get to a really good consistency. So for example, if you were painting with kids, I don't know if they would have the patience for it, but try it. If they don't know any better, maybe they wouldn't even notice. It blows my mind that there's only 4 ingredients: flour, milk, oil, and food coloring, which I feel like most of us have at home already, so it's basically free. Oh, also with the food coloring, I specifically went out and found a vegan one because a lot of red colors come from crushed up bugs. If you want to look out for it, it's called cochineal. Another thing that makes this not plastic free in my case is that I thought I had food coloring in the cupboard in little glass jars, so I just quickly ran out to Sainsbury's to grab some, and all they had was plastic. What are you doing, Sainsbury's? Why are you taking things that were already glass and making them plastic? And I didn't have time to run to another supermarket, so I just grabbed them. I'm so sorry. I will plan ahead next time. You can plan ahead. There's no reason to be buying it. I'm sorry, forgive me. Some of the things to point out are in between the layers, I made sure that I kept my little jars of food coloring in the fridge because this is milk. We want to try and preserve it for as long as possible. And if you're lazy like me and can't be bothered with the washing up, I just put the paintbrush in the fridge with the paint. It was fine, no big deal. But if somebody else ends up using this recipe, please let me know in the comments what milk you used and how it turned out, because it'd be really interesting to know if some plant milks take to this and if others don't. I have no idea. Also, I guess you would get this with all milks. I put in no preservatives because I wanted it to compost at the end of its life. And I made it a week or 2 before using it, and I kept on checking to see if it smelled because I was like, this milk has got to go off at some point, but it was absolutely fine, it lasted. But if you, again, had a kid who was painting a picture, or if you're an artist and it's something that you wanted to hang up on the wall for a long time, I don't know how long it would last before going off. Again, if you do it, please let me know in the comments what milk you used, how long it lasted, if it started to go a bit janky. I also think this is a really exciting time. I feel like the plastic-free movement is only just getting going and there is so much scope yet to go. Like, this milk paint is basically something that's been going around on Pinterest for years as a cute way to paint with kids. And there's gonna be better recipes and there's gonna be more people making them and selling them independently. This isn't the way it's gonna be forever. This is like step 1. And I'm gonna find a way to do it with face paint because I cannot have face paint free Halloween for the rest of my life. I can put it off for only so long. I'm gonna figure it out. So yeah, if anybody has any zero waste, plastic free paint recipes that they could share in the comments, I would love that. I don't know why I'm asking for so many comments. I'm asking for so many comments because I need help. I don't have the answers. If you could give me them, I'd be very grateful, thank you. And yeah, that's it. I will see you guys in the comments. Thank you for subscribing. Love you, bye. Sorry if it's distracting that I'm sat in a jungle right now. I'm having a clear out and this is the only clean spot I could find. Sorry, I thought this vibe would be better.